What time is it?
It's time for the Abbott and Costello Show. We're on the air for ABC here in Hollywood.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go with the Abbott and Costello Show.
Hey, Costello, come here. How did you get your clothes so dirty? Just look at your coat. It's torn and your shirt is ripped and...
That ain't my fault, Abbott.
What?
I was out on one of my Sam Trouble detective stations last night. I investigated a robbery at the fraternity house in UCLA. But I miscalculated. Got into one of the girls' dormitories.
How did you manage to do that?
By careful miscalculation.
Costello, instead of running around nice on those silly Sam shovel cases, you should stay home.
Well, I do stay home a lot, Abbott. Every night last week I stayed home. I cleaned the house. I got a terrible servant problem. I find it very difficult to hold a maid.
Now, what makes it so difficult for you to hold a maid?
My mother keeps walking in the room.
Never mind that. I understand you took your brother Pat to the movies last night.
Oh, yes. But I ain't taking Pat to the movies no more. He acts very strange. The minute we got into the movie, Pat put his hat under the seat.
Well, what's strange about that? What's the men put their hat under the seat?
Well, their head is still in it.
Oh, talk sense. Hey, wait a minute. Come here. What is that big manuscript you're carrying under your arm?
Well, I didn't want to tell you, but it's a book that I wrote.
A book you wrote?
It's the first chapter. The hero is threatened by a mad doctor who tries to remove his head. In the second chapter, he meets a demented butcher who tries to put him in a meat grinder. Then it ends where three maniacs tie him to a tree and a squadron of wild woodpeckers peck holes in him. But nobody wants to publish it.
Why not?
I guess people are sick of them mushy love stories.
What is your Sam Shovel detective story about tonight?
Well, tonight I do one of my most famous cases. I call it the case of the photographer who was stuck up in a dark room, or he was caught with his prints down.
Well, it sounds terrible, but let's do it.
Now, the makers of Bebop Bubble Bath present the adventures of Sam Shovel, Private Detective. But first, a word about our product, Bebop Bubble Bath. Friends, would you like Bubbles in your bathtub? You would? Well, why not call up Bubbles and see if she needs a bath? Ladies, try Bebop Bubble Bath. We don't ask you to buy the large size, mind you. Just try a trial size package. It contains a 7-year supply. You will find that if you use Bebop Bubble Bath every day for 7 years, you'll have skin just like a baby. A baby alligator. Listen to what people all over the country are saying about Bebop Bubble Bath. In Kansas, give me Bebop Bubble Bath. In New Jersey,
give me Bebop Bubble Bath.
in Oregon, give me Bebop Bubble Bath. In Virginia,
Give me liberty on Jimmy's chest.
that Patrick Henry never gives up. And now the makers of Bebop Bubble Bath bring you your favorite thriller mystery. Here he is, Sam Shovel, Private Detective. Yes, I'm Sam Shovel. Sam Shovel, Private Detective. The detective business has been mighty slow lately. Last night, having nothing to do, I went to a big public library and buried my nose in a book. This morning, I had a heck of a job finding it. I forgot what book I buried it in. Here comes my secretary now.
Did you call me, Mr. Shovel?
Don't be silly. Why should I call you Mr. Shovel? My name is Mr. Shovel. By the way, Miss Jones, did you find a file on that crook Joe Kirk?
What's his name?
Who?
Joe Kirk.
Never heard of him. Miss Jones, you and I have got to work late in the office tonight. Are you prepared?
Oh, yes. I brought my brass knuckles, my fencing mask, and a baseball bat.
Clever girl. She's so stylish. He was voted one of the 10 best dressed women in Azusa. That's not so remarkable when you consider there's only 9 other women in Azusa. Suddenly, the inter-office communication system buzzes. It's my secretary. She speaks.
Mr. Shovel, there are 2 men here to see you about a case. Mr. Cohen and Chief Lightfoot Running Gear.
I'll see the Indian first.
Go in now, Mr. Cohen.
The cops have certainly got their hands full these days. Full of 5, 10, 20.
I think of my pal, Lieutenant Abbott of the Homicide Squad. Abbott has been on the police force for 20 years. He knows which side his bread is buttered on. He can take any piece of bread and say, this side is buttered.
Sam, I'm on the trail of Zeke, hillbilly moonshiner, burglar.
Lieutenant Abbott, I'll be glad to help you. What do you want?
Well, you've seen Zeke. Give me a thumbnail description of him.
Well, he uses liquid polish, and his cuticle is pushed way back.
Sam, I want you to go with me to the Ozarks. I've got to capture Zeke. It'll be a dangerous trip. Those hillbillies are strange people. They're always arguing, shooting and farming.
Yep, shooting, fighting, and fertilizing.
Come on, Sam, we're heading for the hill.
Lieutenant Abbott and I arrived in the hillbilly country.
Sam, these hillbillies are strange people, but you'll have to admit they're solid citizens. They've got both feet on the ground.
They've got to have both feet on the ground. They don't wear shoes. I read in the papers where a 75-year-old hillbilly wanted to marry a girl 9 years old.
Did he marry her?
Nope, his parents objected. They didn't want him marrying a girl who'd been divorced 3 times.
Wait a minute, Sam. Here comes a bunch of hillbillies. Let's ask them if they know where Zeke is.
Howdy, strangers. I'm Jim Hartfield. These here are my sons.
I'm Sam Shovel, the detective, and this is Lieutenant Abbott.
Boys, say hello to the strangers. Lem? Do. Clem? Bert? Sir? Bert went to military school.
I don't like the looks of these guys, Abbott. The skinny one has got an ear of corn and 2 pumpkins.
So what? They're farmers, and farmers have corn and pumpkins.
Thrown out of their heads.
Well, gotta go now. We're working on the farm. 2 weeks ago, we dug a hole. Last week, we dropped the seed in it. Today, we're gonna cover it up.
Do you always work that hard?
Yeah, except when the weather gets bad, then it slows us up a little. So long.
Boy, is that guy lazy. If he was a chicken, eggs and television sets would be the same price.
Never mind him, Sam. We've got to find Zeke, the moonshiner. Hey, look over there behind those bushes. There's Zeke. There's Zeke. The moonshiner's still. Come on.
Hey, look. There's Zeke. He's making corn liquor. He's jumping up and down on the corn, crushing it.
Hold on there, Zeke. We've got you covered. You're under arrest. Stop mashing that corn with your feet. What are you doing?
I'm making some 90-proof corn liquor. And tomorrow I'm going to make some that's 100 proof.
How do you do that?
For that, I take off my shoes.
Zeke, how do you make that corn liquor?
Well, first I mash up the corn. Then I dump in a gallon of turpentine. Then a gallon of Clorox. And 2 quarts of juniper juice.
Don't you put no alcohol in it?
What? Ruin the taste?
Zeke, we're taking you to jail. Sam, grab some of that moonshine for evidence. You better taste it to make sure we got the right stuff.
Lieutenant Abbott, you know I never touch the stuff.
So you're a brave detective, eh? Sam Shovel, eh? Go ahead, you coward. Taste it. That stuff will grow hair on your chest.
He's only kidding, Sam. Go ahead and taste it.
Okay.
Speak to me, Sam.
Don't stand there, Lieutenant. Call a barber. This hair is so thick I can't see where I'm going. Get me out of here!
Well, Costello, why don't you tell the folks about your next week's Sam Shovel story?
Folks, my Sam Shovel story takes place in the chewing gum factory. I call it the case of the beautiful blonde who fell into a vat of soft gum, or there's good shoes tonight.
Yes, and our writers are working on the case right now. Our writing staff is headed by Eddie Foreman with Paul Conlon, Pat Costello, Martin Ragaway, and Len Stern.
And our producer is Charles Vander. Be sure to be with us next Thursday night.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody in Patterson. Good night, come on. Aunt May, Uncle Mike, Uncle Tom, Aunt Eva.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.